Well, hello there, and welcome to Let's Talk Sports live watch along of the W Series. And this is round two. We're in the same place as we were last weekend. Not just me and Jack, but the race circuit itself, the Red Bull Ring, home for the Austrian Grand Prix, not just for the W Series, but also the Formula One this weekend. If you did know the F1 qualifying, I must please stress, just for Jack's sake, I know what happened, but please don't post it in the chat page. I don't know why I've just said that, because I've clearly asked
Yeah.
you to now. And don't tell Jack, because Jack hasn't seen it yet, but I believe it was a very dramatic afternoon in Formula One. But can we have a dramatic afternoon in the second race of the W Series season? Last weekend we saw Alice Powell go on to win, pretty much very dominant and comfortably, while everybody else was up and down on the circuit, especially Jamie Chadwick, and she starts in pole position today. So what a recovery from her after what was probably not her best races in the opening Grand Prix of the season. Jack, great to have you here as always. I mean, straight away, it's already mixed leaderboard from last weekend, which just shows how unpredictable this championship could be.
Yeah, again, like you said, you mentioned it was a great race, the first race back for the W Series last week. Obviously, like you said, Alice Powell and Sarah Moore actually in second place, completely sort of dominated the race and were pretty comfortable throughout. It was the rest of them from Sarah Moore backwards that there was sort of chaos. There was a safety car for the first race of the W Series. There was incidents at the back. There was a lot of action going on. Like you said, Jamie Chadwick, there was an incident between her and Jess Hawkins, which saw Jamie Chadwick having to get the points back to sort of recover, which she did in the end, got a few points back for this weekend. And of course, like you said there, just starting the weekend, or this weekend, a lot better than last, obviously starting from pole position. So from her sake, hopefully she can get some points back from that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this race again. Same circuit, but like you said, it's looking like a completely different lineup from last week, which is good. We didn't really want exactly the same thing. I think that's the worry when you have two races back to back, that you might get exactly the same outcome, but it doesn't look to be, hopefully. Just looking forward to getting the race started. Is the Austrian Grand Prix this race time, whereas last week was the Styrian race. So looking with something different, but they're going to go through the starting grid now.
So we got Jamie Chadwick as pole, as we mentioned. Then we got Visser in second. Then we got Tomaselli in third, with Nuria Marti in fourth. Then we got Arina Sidakova in fifth, with Emma Kimi Leinen, who had a penalty because she was in the top three in qualifying. Marta Garcia in seventh, followed by the Brit of Sarah Moore. Belen Garcia 10th, not my friend from Spain. I actually have a Belen Garcia as a friend. It's so weird. Alice Powell 12th after winning the race last weekend. Abby Eaton in 11th. We got Jessica Hawkins, another Brit, in 14th. And then we have the 15th and 16th of Perea and Ardest. And then in 17th and 18th, it's Miki Koyama and Saber Cook in 18th. So, of course, if you are new to W Series, it's only two drivers shy of the F1 lineup and one team short. So 9 teams of 2 drivers each. The cameras are on Jamie Chadwick. The live timing is now up for me, so I will now do that window capture. But Jack, let's ask for your predictions. Who's going to win?
I mean, the absolute chaos last week. I know that the top two sort of dominated, but the rest of the pack onwards, I think it was sort of chaos. You didn't actually know what was going to happen in that running order. So I'm hoping for exactly the same again, but I'm not. I honestly couldn't give an actual outcome. Kim Alainen looked strong last week. Visser also, put a good performance in as well. But Jamie Chadwick, being the former world champion, winning the first season of the W Series in 2019, she needs the points this race weekend to sort of get her season underway in the second race. So she's starting on pole position. So I think she needs to convert that to her first race win of this season.
Well, as you'd imagine, I've had the same problem as Jack from last week, where the error is happening with the live timings off the W Series website, which isn't good. Maybe if I click on live timing again, it might work, but we'll see. Again, the race hasn't actually started yet. We're on a formation lap, so that is just before the race begins, so that might be why we haven't got any data as of yet. But let us know in the chat page, folks, who will win the Austria Grand Prix. We do have a poll up at the moment as well. Currently got 56% for Jamie Chadwick, our pole sitter. Visser with 8%. Kimi Leinen with 16%. Now, that was before I realised she had a penalty, so probably a bit irrelevant now. It might be very difficult for her. You never know on this track in the Red Bull Ring. And we did ask for you for Over by commenting, and that was 19%. So it looks as though Jamie Chadwick is our favourite today. And if you haven't yet, folks, do subscribe to Let's Talk Sport and to Jack Price's Pole Position podcast. The link is in the description below.
The weather looks good today as well, doesn't it? I don't know if there's a chance of rain for tomorrow's Formula One race, so that could be interesting for that as well. Yeah, from that sake. But everything looks lovely for a Saturday afternoon for the W Series race. Like you said, a lot of fans there. Obviously, a lot of Dutch fans for Max Verstappen as well, being a close sort of race for them to travel. So yeah, it's looking good. Like I said, I haven't seen the qualifying results, but Jamie says it's interesting, so I look forward to watching that a little bit later on. But yeah, the main focus is on the W Series, of course.
Yeah, I'm not telling him anything.
No, thank you.
If you lot do at home, then that would be a real shame.
How
not for
you?
me, but for Jack. Still refreshing that page. Hopefully it'll come up at some point.
Yeah, I don't know why it didn't do it again last week. Obviously, we had to just show the qualifying order for the whole race, which was a little bit annoying. But if anyone does know any other website that's doing the live timings for the W Series, obviously let us know as well. But it looks like the own website is sort of struggling a bit for us to capture that. So,
well, here we go then. They're about to go out. They're just getting the cars ready on the starting grid. And, of course, we'll try and keep you updated as we can with our live board if it does become a thing. We don't know yet. I'll just keep refreshing for now. But currently that is your qualifying. This is how they'll start in the race, apart from Emma Kimi Leinen being in 6th. So cars are lining up. There is in front of some sort of attendance, just like last weekend in a way. I don't think the attendance figures has changed much. I haven't read anything to say it's changed. Of course, I'm sure if you lived in Austria, you'd know more about the local government rules at the moment. And the safety car is behind all 18 cars. And as Jack said, it's lovely weather. The sun is shining again. Who will be having the sun shining on them after this race? The 5 lights are out, and here we go. Oh, again, another one.
Another false start.
We had that last. Oh, they just haven't tried out the car, and it's a yellow flag for Sector 1. But Jamie Chadwick, I think is that her?
Someone's gone wide. A couple of cars have gone very wide there. That's Jamie Chadwick, yeah, comfortably in the lead.
Which is actually the outer part of Turn 1 for the MotoGP track, where they've just gone off there. I forgot to start my timer, so that bear with me. Hang on a minute. I'm so not used to this. Hang on. There we go.
It's close in that midfield pack, but you can just already see the gap for Jamie Chadwick there. Already the first few corners going into Turn 4 now down this sort of main back straight. But yeah, I mean, Jamie Chadwick already comfortably with a few seconds ahead.
Yep, error connecting to data source. So again, no live timings for you at the moment, I'm afraid,
Brilliant.
folks. So sorry about that. We'll try our best, but we currently have got quite a lot of cars in the same pack. 29 minutes to go.
And they're not showing the order either to tell us what the driver changes have been, annoyingly. They're just showing the time limit, which is a bit annoying to be able to go through the actual driver order change.
Even the computer is confused. But at the moment, I think it is Chadwick who's leading.
If I try and get the W Series up on my site, I might be able to get the data.
I bet it works for you just because you're not streaming. It seems to be probably a curse.
Let's have a look. Oh no, error connecting to data source. They must be having an issue with their website then.
Yeah, they're not used to it.
No, there's too much people trying to watch it, that's for sure.
Well, we'll leave up the qualifying at least for you folks. So, I say that it's gone all over the place again. Oh no, there we go. Yeah, currently got Chadwick first, Sidakova second. Kimi Leinen's gone up 3 places. She is in 3rd. So don't let that leaderboard for you. What I've got in front of you at the moment.
That's a good performance. I'm just trying to load up because I'm trying to see the screens of the driver order, but it's a little bit blurry for me, so I haven't got the actual. I think Chadwick. Is it Chadwick? Is it Sidakova? And then I'm just trying to
Yeah,
remember.
you're right. Yeah, Sidakova second, Kimi Line third,
Right.
Tomaselli fourth, Moore fifth, Marty is sixth, Eaton seventh, Powell eighth. She's gone up the board. Rollwind in ninth, and Garcia in 10th. So currently that's your top 10 with about 27 minutes to go. And they're just showing the replay of the start here. So it looked as though, it was.
Who was that had that really poor start there? Was that second on the grid?
I think it was second on the grid, which was Visser. So that's why, she had a poor start. And then Jamie Chadwick, miles ahead, with even second not being able to get near her because of the false start. In other sports, you would have been disqualified if you had started early or not be able to start at all. But instead, that is the current case for them. So that was them approaching the second corner. Second corner is so tight, and that's the part where I always expect to have one or two collisions in the race, whether it's at the start or later on.
Seeing another replay here. I'm just trying to see what... Oh, no. There's nothing from that.
Oh.
Abby Eaton's made up some good places from 11th place to 7th. Powell's also right behind her, made up some places as well. So she's in 8th position. Sarah Moore, who was second last week, now up to 5th place as well. So again, she's made up some good places in the race as well.
Kuzik RVN says, where can I watch live from India? We're watching it on Channel 4, which is a British TV channel. We're using a website.
I was going to say the W Series website might have the country and the best place to watch it as well. So the best aspect is to go on the actual W Series website, and you should be able to put the country that you're obviously looking from, and it should hopefully give you a link to watch it from as well. So that's probably the best place to look for.
And they do have some obscure countries on that list, by the way,
they
like
do,
Kenya.
yeah.
So you are probably in with a good chance. Check out the wseries.com website. So 2.2 seconds ahead at the moment, Sidakova. Chadwick with fastest lap with a 1:30.3, I think it was. We did find out last week that the cars in W Series are the equivalent of an F3.
I think.
Yeah, so that's why they're a little bit slower than the F1 timings.
But it obviously gives us close racing as well, because obviously the majority of them are almost exactly the same, like a carbon copy of each other. So you don't have that like Mercedes and then Williams down the back or Haas down the back in terms of F1. A lot of them are very close together. So even though it's a short race of 30 minutes, you should get a lot of action in that. Like we said last week, we had some incidents. Safety car came out as well, and that was all in a space of half an hour. Sometimes in an hour and a half a Formula One race, we don't get any of that. So it's good to see a short race with a lot of action going on.
Why is that though? Like, why is it they have pretty much carbon copy cars? I find that odd.
Yeah, I think I don't know personally. I just be going off what maybe it might be, but if you're in F3, I think it's more you trying to show off your talent to get through the next stages.
That makes sense.
If you're in a Mercedes like F1 car and somebody else in a Williams and you'll keep winning, it might not be your actual driver performance. It might just be the car you're in. So putting you all in almost exactly the same car, then you have to show off that you are the best. So I personally, I don't know if that's the case, but that's what I would, go off to say it would be more around. I think that's the best way to do it, actually, because the younger categories, when you're sort of growing into the sport, you want to highlight that you are the best, not just because the car you're given. So
yeah, absolutely. We've got Adwa Raihan saying Eurosport in India, but think it's delayed by an hour. Oh dear.
Oh, a lot of places were just showing the highlights, weren't they? When people were in the chat last week. I think Holland were only showing the highlights from what we got on the chat last week. So
yeah, it just shows. I think it just shows that it's got a lot of work to come, hasn't it? W Series.
Yeah.
I'm sure in a way Formula E's got bigger and bigger, I'd imagine, over the last few years. But I mean, I can't speak for Jack. But we don't. I mean, we could, but
we could.
There's only so many races we can do. We if you're new to the channel, we also do F1 watch-alongs, which we'll be doing tomorrow. And then, of course, there's the MotoGP, but that's off until August now, so there won't be any more MotoGP until next month.
From what I know, I don't know if Formula E was last week or was it this weekend or something. That I saw Stoffel Van Dorn with a trophy, I think. I don't know if that was last week or something in Rome.
He has been up there in the championship, I think. I think the season is nearly done with Formula E, unless it already is. I'm not sure, because normally it ends in the summer. So
Yeah,
July
I wish
time.
we knew.
Yeah, we could Google it, but nah. 22 and a half minutes left of the race. Of course, it's a 30-minute race. It's down on a clock, not lap count or anything like that. Chadwick still has fastest lap. I don't know, but I'd imagine them mentioning fastest lap might be a point as well for them. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it should be sort of like the same rules that apply with the fastest lap, because again, there wouldn't be much point in really highlighting it if nothing was going to come out of it. But every time Jamie Chadwick's going around the circuit, she keeps setting a new fastest lap. So everything's going swimmingly really for the 2019 champion at the moment. Is that a pass there? Ardest on Jessica Hawkins. Oh, she's gone wide. Jessica Hawkins taking the place back again.
Oh, nearly. I thought she nearly pushed her onto the grass there. It's close.
Oh no, that's Sarah Moore and apologies, that's Sarah Moore and Marty there, 5th and 6th place.
Yeah, I feel like Jamie Chadwick is having the race of Powell at the moment.
Yeah.
She's not really that far ahead. She is literally just probably about a second or two ahead. So they've got team radio on for Powell. Not really sure what's being said there, but Powell's started 12th and is now in 8th place.
Yeah, good performance so far. A little bit disappointed. I bet she'll be disappointed with the qualifying performance from yesterday. Obviously, starting on pole and winning the race in exactly the same circuit last week. A little bit disappointed. I expect to be starting so far back on this race as well. But like you said, working her way up the grid with just over 20 minutes left on the clock as well.
We got Greg asking if we've got any more streaming this evening. Yes, Joe Stanley, Greg will be doing the England-Ukraine watch-along, which I'll be watching nervously in a pub.
Jamie, what are you thinking about that?
Oh, it's the perfect scenario of doing an Iceland, isn't it? It really is.
I didn't want to say it.
I'm not going to boast and say we're going to win. Every game has to be taken seriously, and it's away from home.
That was Moore and Marty again.
Gave her no space.
Place.
Did you see the way she went back on the track? Like, right, I'm going to get you for that.
Yeah, you're going to get you now. Obviously, no DRS in W Series. Well, it's just pure slipstream from the cars. This is going to be a close battle between these two. Her teammate's right behind as well, isn't it? Is that Eaton, or are they teammates? It looks.
No, you're right.
Badges, but they look exactly the same in terms of the car. No, purple and blue, but they look almost identical.
Yeah, so Marty's teammate is Sidakova, who's in second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see the replay again with that battle going into turn 3. Not much space. I remember Verstappen and Leclerc had that in the last lap. Do you remember in the F1? Very wide there.
It was pretty beautiful. Marty, there she goes.
Using all the track. And more.
And it gives Aramco a good sponsor moment. So just under 20 minutes to go. Chadwick first, Sidakova second, Kimi Leinen third. Let me see if the live timings is at all working. No, it's still screwed.
That's very disappointing.
It is annoying. So
also, what is disappointing, Jamie, is we said before the streamer starts that we both look at them Puma cars, but both of them, Ardest and Marta Garcia, are both in 14th and 15th place at the minute. So not great publicity for the Puma cars down in 14th and 15th at the minute.
It's representing the Jordan era of when it was losing its sponsors and was getting slower. And Eddie Jordan was happy to just go, you know what? I like being on a boat and not having to worry.
Yeah, I'll just sit on my yacht.
Which I'm sure he has one.
Of course. I think they were on his yacht in Monaco for the Channel 4 race. That was his yacht.
Yeah, because was he on as a pundit?
Yeah.
He was
they were,
on.
They were actually on his yacht. They were actually on his yacht as well.
I love it. I miss Eddie Jordan. He needs to be on it every week.
Oh, no, it's the Puma car.
Yeah.
We were just speaking about it. It's Ardest.
Oh, dear. She's spinning the car. I don't know. I mean, I think she'll be able to continue. There's no damage to the car.
Where is that? That's turn 4, is it? I think
you might be right. It's a green flag, so the track is clear. She's been able to get back on there. But
let's have a look at the replay again. Oh, went on a move for a teammate, is it? Oh, is it a collision?
Yes, it is. Oh, she could have ended badly there, but she's.
Oh, that's 2 teammates.
It hit the back of her car, didn't it? Onto the back right.
Oh, Garcia went for a move there on the inside.
That
Didn't work.
Their team meeting afterwards is going to be interesting. And I'm sure it'll be on Drive to Survive.
Gunther Steiner will come in, even though he's got nothing to do with him.
Yeah. Did he just smash my door?
Brilliant.
4.5 seconds ahead, Chadwick. So
Yeah.
looking comfortable with 17 minutes left on the race clock. Good to see a lot of fans out there on the fields watching on after watching qualifying.
Yeah.
Someone made a good point earlier. I think it was Country Breakfast on our live chat. So do get in touch if you haven't, folks. We like to read your messages. Oh, yeah, that was a close one. And that
Alice Powell, is that Alice Powell?
Yeah, up against Belen Garcia. That was to keep her place, not even to overtake there. Country Breakfast said they need to get this on the F1 TV app. Hopefully this will happen if they continue to tag along with the F1 calendar. It's funny because
I think that's a good idea, yeah.
I think it is funny, though, because the whole graphics and camera footage and all that they use for this W Series race feed is exactly the same as the F1, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, me and Jack are F1 nerds in a way, and we recognise the font, the template, and all that for the leaderboard, etc. So it's no doubt an F1 layout. So it just shows pretty much it is the same kind of.
I think that's a good idea for maybe like you said earlier, when people were putting in the chat, where's the best place to find it in terms of their different countries that they're in. F1 TV is, I think, in most countries around the world. So maybe to have it on the stream for the F1 would help other people maybe watch it. So I think maybe that's a good idea going forward, possibly to have it included on the F1 TV as well for better coverage.
Yeah, absolutely. 15.5 minutes left on the clock.
Jamie Chadwick stretching that out to almost 5 seconds now. So yeah, pretty comfortable at the minute for Jamie Chadwick. Obviously still got the fastest lap as well. That was a lockup as well. That was close. That was close.
We had a lot of lockups on that turn last weekend in the race as well.
Yeah, I think that's Belen Garcia that almost got hit from behind there. That would have been not great at all.
It looks as though from turn 4, Ardist and Garcia are going to be investigated after the race for the incident that they had earlier on. Exactly.
I think that's more an in-house team meeting, don't you? With it being two teammates, so just leave them to it. They'll figure it out.
Basically, if you're near the office door, go on that side of the wall with a glass, and just put it next to the wall and see if you can hear anything.
Oh, that was close. That was almost a collision there. Saber Cook, actually, in 10th place. It's just trying to get used to, obviously, the numbers and the different teams. I'm guessing by the 7th, 8th race, just as the season's about to finish, me and Jamie will know exactly each team and each driver, but it's still trying to get used to them with it being like a new sport for us to be watching live.
It's like trying to do homework.
Yeah.
And getting ready for an exam.
Trying to do the research. I should probably have done more being a commentator. Obviously, we know all the commentators in the business do a lot of research, whether it be football, whether it be Formula One. They do a lot of great coverage. I'm not sure who's doing the commentary for this, but last week it was Ben Edwards and David Coulthard, and obviously Ben Edwards does a lot of research for the races he does. So
I would hate to do the Olympic opening ceremony.
Oh, yeah. Can you imagine?
That feels like a lot of stuff needs to be known before that starts.
Yeah, like them in the old days when they have a scroll and it just rolls all the way down the street. That would be how much research you have to do the Olympic ceremony. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Which, of course, is on in a few weeks. Tokyo Olympics sadly won't be the Olympic Games we normally imagine, with fans being able to go, but only Japanese can go, I think. So won't be the same, but we'll be doing some watch-alongs for that. We're hoping to do the tennis, the golf, and the football, at least, from the Olympic Games. If there's any that you'd want us to cover, do let us know.
So much sport going on, isn't there, in the next few months or so?
Certainly, yeah. Sadly, I'll be gone for 2 weeks.
I know.
Tuesday.
But you're doing that as a sport.
Me.
That's a sport in itself.
So you lot will have to try and do it without me.
Goodness.
I'll take my laptop, though, for the evenings in case I'm free. So.
Just hope the Wi-Fi is good wherever you are.
It better be. In Kent.
Oh, is that where it is?
Yeah. Just over 12 minutes left. Chadwick's now 5.5 seconds ahead. I think we've got a race winner, to be honest.
Yeah.
She's got it in control. Of course, no pit stops expected, not with it being a 30-minute race, which I like the short races, but from what I've seen in the first 2 races, we've seen the person who gets pole, and as long as they come out of the first few corners clean and in front, it does feel as though it's quite easy to control the race, as long as they've got that pace.
Yeah, I don't know if it would maybe be different on another circuit. I mean, obviously we've only had
Yeah,
both.
that's a good point.
We've only had the first 2 races at the same track. Obviously, we know if you can put a lap together, this is quite a short circuit. So if you can pull away, I mean, from the same point of view as well, it's probably quite easier to catch up as well. But it is a very fast flowing circuit. So Jamie Chadwick, obviously, like I said, put the few fastest laps in in their first 3 laps and already made that gap. And controlling it now as well. So we've just seen a black and white flag for car 17 as well. Agren, who's in 15th position, is obviously trying to make them places back up, is obviously getting a bit naughty, so getting a telling off from the stewards, which isn't good as well. But Sudakova in second place, Kimmerlein still in third place as well, Tomaselli in 4th, Sarah Moore in 5th, having that battle with Marty, who's still in 6th as well. Abby Eaton in 7th, Alice Powell is in 8th position as well. Belen Garcia is in 9th. We've got Saber Cook in 10th. Whirlwind in 11th. Visser 12th. Marta Garcia 13th. Hawkins 14th. Agren 15th. Pereri 16th. As I just say, Agren's just overtaken Hawkins for 14th place. Koyama in 17th. And Ardest, who obviously had that collision with her teammate Garcia, down in 18th position.
Just over 10 minutes to go. And again, still can't find the leaderboard for you folks.
No, I've just tried to reload it and it's still saying error again. So
I think that's done and dusted.
Yeah.
We've just ended our poll, which I probably should have ended early, and it was 50% of you going for a Jamie Chadwick win. But I'm sure most of you recently have voted during the race, which, in the words of Miranda last night, saying we should never accept votes that happen during the event. But I quite like it to see people change their mind. There was an overtake on the inside. Oh, just went off without anyone forcing her there. Not sure
think
what
it was
that
because
all about.
I think after the overtake, I'm not sure who it was that made the overtake, but it looked quite slow when they started off again. So they had to run wide, otherwise they're going to run into the back of each other. So that was a strange one, really. It's funny, isn't it? Like, in terms of, I thought it'd be a little bit closer, but there seems to be like packs. So there's like a pack of 4 here from 14th, I think 13th position onwards. There's a pack of 4 cars, whereas it's sort of broken up a little bit. Whereas I think last week it was a lot closer. See, there's a pack of 4 here as well. They just seem to be doing their own little packs here.
And we got Sidakova. Bless her, she's been second the whole time.
Yeah,
just can't keep up with Chadwick. Pereira has gone down to 16th from Agrin going up to 15th. Race control message. It says that track limits for Eaton. Second warning.
I'm just trying to think track limits. I think is there only the last couple of corners as track limits? A bit like the F1. Is it only like 9 and 10, I think, is it?
Yeah, because I think when you look at those first couple of corners, well, first 3 or 4, I'd say.
Yeah.
I think that's a bit harsh. If they had done it, because it's that part of that track where they always go off when they're racing.
Oh, second warning for Ardest as well. But
I
she's in
don't know
18th place. She's in 18th place.
She's
just trying to catch up.
She's just doing anything to catch up. As long as she don't get overlapped in the space of 30 minutes, that'd look pretty bad.
Yeah.
There's quite a battle here between Kimi Leinen and Tomaselli. Kimi Leinen, probably the daughter of Kimi Räikkönen and Kovalainen.
How does that work?
Sperm donor, stuff like that. It's complicated stuff, Jack.
I believe you.
Yeah, it is. As Jack say, it is patches, because we've just seen the top 3 or so come through past the camera, and then we see the other group of cars.
They're in groups,
seconds.
aren't they, at the minute?
Very, very different packs.
Yeah. There's groups of different cars. And then, of course, like we said, there's Jamie Chadwick with just over 8 minutes to go, sort of controlling her own race. But I think this is sort of the anger and the determination after last week's more disappointing qualifying than disappointing, race. Because obviously she made the places up to get some points by the end of it. But it was that qualifying performance last week that sort of hampered her at the beginning of that race. So,
Yeah.
and of course, she had that incident with Jessica Hawkins as well. So this is Jamie Chadwick putting a stamp on the season now, just trying to make sure that she gets that first pole position and then she converts that into her first race as well.
Absolutely. More radio messages for Pal. She's still 8th. Of course, she won't be able to replicate what she did last weekend by winning the opening Grand Prix comfortably as well. 8 places shy of that this Saturday.
Even Sarah Moore, who finished in second place again, comfortably in second, is only in 5th position. So I'm trying to think who was in third. I think it was it Vorwind, who's down in 11th place. So it's going to be a completely different podium positions for all 3 drivers this time around.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I don't think any of them were. Any of these 3 were in the podium.
I think Kimmerleinen was close, wasn't she? And then there was an incident. I don't know if the car. I'm sure she was quite way up the order. But again, I think we had some retirements last week as well. But nothing so far with just over 6 minutes to go. I don't want to ruin it now, but that's quite close.
Oh,
that was about like Tony Hawk on a skateboard, just gliding that yellow sausage curve there.
Which reminds me,
a trick shot.
Which reminds me, I still need to get that game. As in the remake. Still. Actually, this is probably the first time I've started my PS4 up in a long time that we're watching the stream on.
Oh no, I might have just cursed it because I think Koyama's going to the pits. Have I cursed it? Have I cursed it?
What for? Fastest lap?
Yeah. Well, if people are new to obviously this as well, like we saw last week, with it only being half an hour long and like just over 20 laps, obviously they use the same tyres throughout the race, use the same for almost for qualifying as well. So going into the pits effectively only means retirement really for the W Series. There's no point, especially with Austria being such a short track as well. To come into the pits, you are effectively going to be last anyway. So unless it's a retirement, I'm not too sure why you would come into the pits.
We got a question here from Country Breakfast, which involves our race leader. He asks if Jamie Chadwick can win another W Series title, how much more will she need to do in order to have a chance at an F1 seat? That's a good question, isn't it?
I think the F1
who's willing to make the. Maybe risk is a bit harsh, but you're going into something completely different.
Yeah, I think it's in a one day that's going to happen, and I don't see why it shouldn't. I think if you're a top driver, it shouldn't matter what. But I think it's going to be somebody has to make that initial move, don't they? One of the teams has to make that initial move, and I think it's great that Aston Martin have, say, like Jessica Hawkins as a ambassador, or that she goes to the races as well, even if she's not part of the W Series that weekend. Jamie Chadwick has a sort of affiliation with Williams, so the drivers are sort of getting in and around the F1 teams. But like you said, I think one of the teams just has to make that initial move, and like I said, I think if they're good enough, then why not? Obviously we see Formula One drivers who maybe are only there because of the money. Maybe it would be nice to see women drivers with the talent that they have to be in the sport as well.
It does. It's a classic thing if it just takes one to do it.
Yeah.
And then you should. And then it doesn't matter. I think as long as one of those drivers makes it on the lineup for at least one season, you're seeing something completely different.
Yeah.
It's no different to like the snooker country breakfast, because we've got I think she's Welsh, I can't remember her name, but she has been knocking on the door to play in the World Championship snooker at the Crucible, and she has been in the qualifiers, so she's playing against men. It's her against men on a snooker table, and there's a few other young females playing snooker at the moment in the tour. And it's simply the format is there. There's actually, it is there for someone to qualify and be in a world championship against a male player. So
darts is the same thing as well, isn't it?
Exactly, and it's fantastic. I don't know if there's anything genetic or scientific to prove that a man is better than a woman in darts or snooker or even racing. Maybe racing, they do say that. Well, I mean, it's been proven in athletics, hasn't it? Where with these sprint races, the females always finish a 100-meter race a bit slower than a man's race, which is fair enough. Separate them, make it so that it always stays as a female and a men's race, which I'm sure it always will be. But who knows? It just takes one to try it out, and if they can get in at least for this one chance, give them a chance. See what happens.
Yeah. I think given the testing as well, like when you get the opportunities like the young drivers test as well, I think, again, young driver test doesn't really mean a lot for Formula One because we saw Fernando Alonso do it last year. So, and he definitely know he's not a young driver. So I think, again, maybe that's an opportunity to get, say, Jamie Chadwick in the Williams car, get Jessica Hawkins in the Aston Martin in a test and just see what the timings are. And again, that puts the feelers out of how good maybe they could be to go into the race seat in the season. So like I said, I think that, me and Jamie are spot on in the sense that it only takes one team to make that initial move, but I don't see why not. But in terms of this race, with just over 2 minutes to go, Jamie Chadwick is comfortably going to win this race unless anything happens, because 6 seconds now the gap between her and Sidakova. So and with the fastest lap as well still for Jamie Chadwick. So yeah, very comfortable second race for her.
Oh, look at that. There's a big gap. Oh, it looks as though Tomaselli's...
I think Sarah Moore's going to take this place, is she, for 4th place? Yeah. Yep.
Nice and clean. Any lockups on that corner? No, not that time.
There was quite a few last week, wasn't there? A lot going on in the last few laps. So
it does feel like the same race again, though. Someone dominating at the front. The sun is shining, and it's the same time.
I would say it's there's been less sort of action in this one compared to last week. So obviously we had a safety car. We had a few. The only collision we've had is the two Puma cars having a bit of a tangle with each other as Chadwick once again sets the fastest lap. So going into just over a minute now. So I don't know if it'll be the timer will go down, then it'll be one extra lap on that, but a 1:29.6 for Jamie Chadwick. So just looking very comfortable for her at the minute.
Yeah, fastest lap again, 1:29, that one.
Oh, Jamie, you know what you said earlier when we said about going into the pits, as long as you're not a lap down. Well, Koyama is a lap down. So not really what you want, is it?
No. Imagine being in... I remember you have to be... that's why it makes sense. I questioned this a few weeks ago on our F1 watch-along, saying, if you're not in the top 10, then the fastest lap doesn't count. Now I can understand why. Because you could easily just pit while you're outside the top 10. And actually, that makes sense. Now I get it. I didn't get it a few weeks ago. Now I do. 30 seconds. You could
get George Russell and Latifi get a fastest lap, couldn't you, if that was the case?
It is funny how, something that you don't really think about, and then it comes back to you a few weeks later and you go, oh, yeah, now it makes sense. We've got 15 seconds left, so Chadwick looking to win, but can Sidakova hold on to second against Kimi Lainen, hunting her down? Pretty much, we're seeing Jamie Chadwick, the cameras have changed to her.
I think she might just not, it won't be one extra lap, I think this might be it. Is it? Oh, no. They put the board out, it's one extra lap, I think, is it? Yeah.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
I was just wondering, because the timer went down just up before she crossed the line, so I didn't know if that would be it, but there's no checkered flag, so they must be still doing one more lap here. So.
Well, as you can see on our clock, folks, it's on yellow, so it's one lap to go.
Still disappointed that we haven't been able to get the live data on that, so that's a bit annoying.
Let me try and refresh. Yeah, mine.
No, still not
it'll come up when the race finishes. Great work. Actually, Country Breakfast has said if Latifi can't get closer to Russell, maybe that seat opens up next year for someone like Jamie Chadwick. Maybe 2 seats at Williams will open if George Russell goes to Mercedes. We'll talk more about that at the end of this race. We'll go back to that Country Breakfast, so don't go anywhere.
Yeah, I think that's a good conversation.
We got Sidakova still having to look
a close
over
battle,
her shoulder.
It?
Yeah, it's 0.2 tenths of a second.
Oh, that's really close from Kim Lainen. Obviously, she wants that second place. I mean, both of them will be new on the podium, I think. I don't think either of them were on there last weekend. So, but Jamie Chadwick coming around now, look at the gap. It's been a sort of perfect race for her now. Pole position and then converting that into her first race win for 2021.
Yep, she's coming down the straight now. Here comes the checkered flag. Luckily, it's not Serena Williams doing it again in that awkwardness that we had at Monaco. Jamie Chadwick wins, and of course, it's a fantastic name, but also a fantastic drive from Jamie Chadwick, from one Jamie to another.
Course.
Maybe it's a girl's name. Maybe my parents lied to me. Anyway, Jamie Chadwick wins. Sidakova does hold on for second. Kimi Lainen will have to accept third place, but as Jack mentioned, that's podiums for all three of them for the first time this season. Moore fourth, Tomaselli fifth, Eaton sixth, Marty seventh, Powell in eighth after winning last weekend's race. She'll be probably very disappointed in that, but she improved her qualifying, which was outside the top 10. Belling Garcia 9th and Volvend 10th. That's your top 10. Visser 11th, M. Garcia 12th, Cook 13th, Agrin 14th, Pereira 15th, Hawkins 16th, and your bottom two are Ardis 17th and Koyama 18th, who she did come back on the track, but I'm not entirely sure what for, to be honest, at the
end. With about 3 minutes to go and a lap down, there's nothing you're really going to do with that, is it?
Unless, you never know, there could be that thing at the end of the season where you want to at least say you finished all 8 races and not have a DNF. Maybe I'm not really sure about that. That was the 18 lineup from the end of that race, and it was Jamie Chadwick that won. Jack, I think for Jamie Chadwick, she'll be relieved, I think, because last weekend didn't go down so well, and she is the poster girl in W Series. I think she's the driver that is the most talked about in motorsport when it comes from those 18 drivers. So I think for her, that was a win that was needed, and it was very convincing, and she's reminded us why she is the current champion in the series.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think that was a race win that was needed for sure for Jamie Chadwick. Like we mentioned, it was a sort of difficult race weekend for her last week because obviously it was hampered by the qualifying performance. Obviously, she made up places in the race, but from where she started in qualifying, it was always going to be difficult to be able to get that race win or podium. So just to get them extra points was a bonus for Chadwick last weekend, but completely different this weekend. She looked good in practice. Obviously, made it for pole position in qualifying yesterday, and then of course converting that into a race win today. So yeah, great haul of points for Jamie Chadwick, and obviously wanting to extend that gap then going forward to try and win her second W Series title. So like you said, definitely the poster girl for the W Series because of winning the championship in 2019. Obviously working with Williams as well, trying to integrate in that Formula One world as well. I think it's a bonus that W Series are at the same weekends as Formula One as well, because I think that helps them integrate maybe with the Formula One teams. Other drivers can maybe get that opportunity as well from the W Series and F1 being at the same time. So I think it's only good news for Jamie Chadwick, who's of course trying to win that second W Series title, but good performance and fastest lap as well. So just again dominated the race. So that's 2 Brits that have dominated the race: Alice Powell last weekend, and of course Jamie Chadwick this weekend.
It hasn't come up yet, the final standings, but
it's still not loaded.
If you have just tuned in, folks, and you're wondering, is it Visser that came second? No, that is the qualifying from yesterday on our page. So apologies, but the live timings off the W Series website kept having errors from not just from my side but from Jack's side as well. So apologies about that. Hopefully they'll improve it for the next race next weekend if we do a watch along for that. I guess really, Jack, Jamie Chadwick's your driver of the day.
I think from the performance, absolutely. I think you can't look at anyone else. I think it was like we said, a very comfortable win for Jamie Chadwick. The gap she'd extended as well, and not only that, like we said, fastest lap, pole position from yesterday. Yeah, I think a perfect race weekend really from Jamie Chadwick. I think Sarah Moore again, I think was another great one. starting from outside the top 10 to make it from into 4th place as well. I think that was a good performance. Abby Eaton as well, who was outside the top 10, finishing in 6th place. I think they were good performances as well. But I think you sort of got to give it to Jamie Chadwick just because of how great of a race weekend she's had altogether.
Let's go back to that conversation that Country Breakfast started, which was his first comment was, if Chadwick could win another W Series title, how much more will she need to do in order to have a chance at an F1 seat? We talked about that in the final parts of the race, but he's also got in touch again and said, if the Latifi can't get closer to Russell, That is George Russell. Maybe that seat opens up next year. Maybe 2 seats at Williams will open up next year if George Russell does go to Mercedes. That's been a strong link up, and quite frankly, probably the only driver that will get the next Mercedes contract if Bottas is to go. We actually found out this morning, it was announced that Lewis Hamilton is to commit to F1 for another 2 years with Mercedes, which, you know what, it makes sense, because I wasn't sure. I honestly thought, get this championship out the way and see how you feel. You know, get that 8th World Championship that no other driver has touched before and has reached before in F1, which would have been such an historic moment, which who knows, he could do it, but it's fair to say Max Verstappen is trying to make sure that it doesn't happen this year. But he's also said that, you know, the fact that he's nearly been with the team for 9 years has obviously been a success from the get-go pretty much, and all the races and World Championships he's won with the team. But I liked what he said, which was, you know, a new challenge next year, new era of cars, new rules, regulations. You know, I've got a lot of respect for him there, because he could have looked at that and think, nah, not for me, I've done my bit. But he's actually gone in there and thought, yeah, you know what, I'm fit enough, I can still win races, why can't I? Which I think is good to see. It's maybe a risk, I don't know, but I think deep down, Jack, it's good to see someone who relishes a challenge going on for a big challenge for next year.
Yeah, I think if you make that 8th world title, which, like you said, I think is going to be a very difficult battle for him this year with Max Verstappen, you know, looking good, and obviously, you know, having the most race wins against Hamilton so far this season as well. So I think it's definitely going to be the most difficult battle that Hamilton's had over the last few years or so. Definitely, you know, since his time at Mercedes, since Rosberg. So I think it's definitely going to be a difficult battle maybe to get that 8th world title this year. But I think maybe say he gets it. Even then, I still feel like Lewis Hamilton, even though he's maybe got nothing else to prove because he's won 8 world titles in F1, he still is somebody that wants that competition, wants that challenge, and maybe having different regulations as well. We may not see Mercedes being that you know, as good as you know, a huge gap between them and maybe the other teams, but Lewis Hamilton still wants a battle and still wants to be fighting wheel to wheel with drivers. We've seen that over the last few years. He's been winning constantly, but he's been annoyed that he hasn't had such a battle with that, as we see Jamie Chadwick doing the Lando Norris of dropping the champagne or the sparkling wine on the floor, and yeah, so that's great celebrations there.
At least you didn't do a Van Dorn, which was smash it and then it went into pieces.
Oh God, no, did he?
Yeah, he did that in Formula E about a month or so ago.
That's great to see on the podium. But yeah, I think Lewis Hamilton, look, if he still wants to be in it, he's, you know, why not? You know, I think 2 years. I thought maybe it might be just a 1 year deal just to see how the regulations are. But he's obviously committing to, you know, being here after 2022 and wanting to fight with these new Formula One regulations. So obviously they've made that announcement. That's then the other seat that's still available at Mercedes. Will it be Valtteri Bottas or will it be George Russell that gets that seat? Like we said in the last race watch along last week in the Austrian Grand Prix, I think it'll be a very difficult decision for Mercedes, simply because they've been so consistent and so great with the team that they've had. The combination of Bottas and Hamilton has obviously won them Constructors' Championship for so many years now. So it'll be difficult for Mercedes to make that call. And you know, obviously Toto Wolff has not said that, you know, Hamilton has any decision in driver changes, but Hamilton deep down will be thinking, if maybe the regulations don't go my way, and then I've got a young driver like George Russell fighting me as well, will that be a difficult thing to me to see out these 2 years of this new contract that I've signed?
Could end up being Alonso or Vettel. You may have all the championships, but you can't do it anymore.
Yeah. Although I have to say, Fernando Alonso has picked up recently. He's looking good again and beating his teammate Esteban Ocon, who had a great start to the season. But Fernando is slowly clawing that back again. So he looks to be enjoying himself in that Alpine now than he was maybe at the beginning of the season. But yeah, I think it will be a difficult decision for Mercedes to make. But I think it's only a matter of time until George Russell he has to get that Mercedes seat soon.
They just had Anne Bradshaw on the podium as well as. She's been in motorsport for 50 years, which they've just said. Which I recognise her because she used to do a lot for Williams, I think.
Yeah, one of the press officers.
Yeah. So she's she's still around. She's still going. Bless her. Fantastic. She probably doesn't know what a normal weekend is like. She's probably thinking, I need to be next to a racetrack, not at a family picnic or a barbecue and all that. So good for her. So that's great to see. So it was nice of her to enjoy it on the podium for once instead of being with everyone else down on the pit lane watching the podium celebration. So
I
a nice
will.
moment for
I
her.
was gonna say I will just go back to Jimmy because obviously we've gone around that question that's actually been asked by Country Breakfast in terms of Latifi, and obviously the two Williams seats opening up. I mean, just a quick one, really. Do you think Russell would get that seat next year at Mercedes? Will that be two seats at Williams that are free, or just one?
I can't see Bottas staying again because I don't think Mercedes are going to win this year. So
Yeah.
I think this is a Red Bull season from what I'm seeing at the moment, because if Red Bull continue winning races, especially if they win tomorrow, then that would be 5 or 6 races since Mercedes last won a race, and I don't think Red Bull have had that since like 2013, maybe ever since they started dominating the sport. I don't think they've had a blip for that long, which is quite incredible. And I think when you start doing that against the team that normally win, the real challenge for them is to try and get over that bump and get themselves back on track, which might be tomorrow, might be next weekend, it might be when it's too late in the championship this season. So I do think if they don't get the Constructors' Championship at least, or even the Drivers' Championship, or they don't win either of them, I honestly think they will have to look at making changes, which, as we know, Hamilton's committed to another 2 years at least from what we heard this morning. So I think Bottas is under pressure now. And I think with that, we never have a Hamilton contract get signed this early on in a season. It's normally a thing at the end of each season. Because normally he's been 1 year added on each time. Because, I mean, it's bloody expensive, his contract, I'll say that. So I honestly think Bottas is going. And I think George Russell will replace him. And I wouldn't be surprised if Bottas went back to Williams. But again, where's the ambition to go back there, in terms of going from...
You're only going backwards then, aren't you?
Well, you're going back to the bottom of the grid, aren't you?
Yeah.
And when
Unless the regulation changes help Williams out. I mean, obviously we don't know. But I think the two seats opening up for Williams is a difficult one for me, because I think Latifi, as he can't compete with Russell. We obviously know that. He maybe he's consistent in the race. He's better in the race than he is in qualifying, but it's the qualifying that always hampers him to be able to do any positions in the race for Latifi. But the problem is that Latifi brings in a lot of money for Williams. So unless you are, and obviously going back to the possibility of like Chadwick or somebody else coming from the W Series, not only do you have to be a great driver in Formula One at the minute, but you have to bring, for the lower teams, you have to bring that huge financial investment, which obviously, Latifi does with having a billionaire family, I think. So he obviously brings that money into the team, and obviously we have that with Nikita Mazepin, Lance Stroll, obviously with the fence that Lawrence Stroll then went and bought a team and turned it into Aston Martin. So you have to have these sort of financial backings. I think that's another thing that hampers the possibility of bringing in not talented drivers, but if you don't have the money, it's difficult to do that.
I think that's when I worry about who was I thinking of? Jamie Chadwick, because she may have the talent to get a car home and win the races, but the problem is, does she have that financial backing?
Yeah.
And quite honestly, that's your problem. Yeah. And Lewis Hamilton has been stressing about it, which I have a lot of respect for him for, which is, the only drivers that get into F1 now is if you've got a dad from the past in it. Max Verstappen's a good example, but in all fairness to Max, he's a great driver. He deserves it.
Yeah.
He's doing a lot better than what Yost did. So, big difference. But I do think that sadly he's right. Where unless you've got a company backing you, a rich guy backing you, or you've got past history like Nico Rosberg did as well with Keke, I do think it's very hard for them to get picked up just because of that. It's never a CV thing anymore. It's more of a I don't care what you've done in your racing career. How much can you bring in? Which is a sad but true thing. And maybe with these new rules and regulations, the cap, there is a cap for each team now for the budget. It's gone a lot lower, which means Mercedes may not be able to get all the tools that some of the other teams can't get. So that's why next year could be a real big challenge for Hamilton and for Toto Wolff and the Mercedes team. I believe Toto has committed to another year or two as well. Actually, for 3 years, I think.
I think he's 3, and Hamilton's 2,
So that might be why Hamilton has decided to continue, just because Toto has said yes to it, and he's probably looked at it and think, well, we work well together. Why shouldn't I? So I do think Toto's helped him made sure he stays for another couple of years at least. So, interesting chat. Country Breakfast has responded to our debate saying Chadwick as a female driver could bring unique sponsorship money. Yeah, good shout. Maybe her management can concentrate on that. Yeah, absolutely. Headline news. It'd be all over the world, especially here in Britain, with her being a British driver. Could not disagree. Couldn't agree more, to be honest. I do think if she wins another W Series, you'll get sponsorships from that alone. But I've noticed on the W Series uniform that they wear when they go on the podium, they all wear the same stuff to help brand and promote the W Series, with it being still a baby. But you do wonder at some point, can she start to separate from that uniform and wear uniform that's got sponsorships of her own on it?
Yeah. I think as the series gets more popular, I think, and as more things start to go on, then I expect then their own sponsorships would come in. Obviously, we have team sponsorships as well for the W Series, but like you said, they're all wearing the same sort of overalls for going onto the podium and obviously driving the cars as well. So I think that's something definitely to look in for the future. But yeah, I understand the point where they're just trying to promote the series, so they're all sort of like identical in the way that they go. But I think that's a good point from sort of Country Breakfast, in the sense that it would bring in unique sponsorship. That's absolutely right. I think the one thing that maybe hampers her from one point of view is that she's British, and we know that obviously other countries may back with financial investments from governments. I don't know if that's part of tennis or like somewhere in some parts of sports, they sort of help from the country's sort of funds. But in the UK, that doesn't happen. You sort of have to find the funds yourself. Even Silverstone, as the British Grand Prix, doesn't get any funds from the UK government. It all has to be created to run the track and the events from in-house.
I didn't know that. That's pretty bad, isn't it, actually, when you think of it?
That's what I say. That's why the British Grand Prix is always saying, "No, we might not be in it next year." And it's not because they want more money; it's because they know that they don't get any backing from the UK government. Whereas, say, like the Spanish Grand Prix, I'm guessing the Italian Grand Prix, events like that get the actual support from the government's grants or funds. So that's another thing maybe that could hamper you being a British driver. You're not getting that funds maybe from that sense. But I think that's a great idea. Obviously it would be huge news if the teams decided to do that, and they might get different sponsorships than maybe they would have got if they just brought another male driver in. So that's definitely a great point to look at. But like we said at the beginning of during the race, one of the teams has to make that bold move, and I think once one does it, there's an opportunity obviously for more to take place in Formula One. But yeah, that one team has to make that move. But it could be interesting, because I think if George Russell does go to Mercedes, would they keep Latifi even if it's just for the money, or would they bring two new drivers in as well? It's something to look at for sure, but I think Mercedes have to make that change for George Russell to be promoted to Mercedes, for anything else to sort of like a chain reaction for Williams as well.
You would think when F1, especially from Britain right now, where our most successful driver is the most successful driver in F1, you'd think that might just be enough to get a bit of a funding for our home Grand Prix. I didn't know that. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same thing, because obviously is it the BRDC? I think David Coulthard's chairman of that now. Actually, he's the main guy of that. I'm not sure.
What does it stand for? British Racing David Coulthard?
Yeah, championship. I don't know. I'm sure it's something like that. The BRDC. I'm not sure 100%. But obviously, they obviously help run the Silverstone track and the British Grand Prix. But obviously, I think it needs to be looked into. But obviously, all there are other countries that obviously help fund their sporting events that go on. But I'm pretty sure the British government still don't do that, or what goes on. So they have to fund it themselves. So yeah, when anyone sees the news of Silverstone might be pulling out of the Formula One calendar, it's down to money as well, and that's why they're trying to get as many crowds as possible this year, because they've missed out on funding from last year as well. So
absolutely. Well, we could, as always, me and Jack could talk forever, but you can get more thoughts from Jack, at least on his Pole Position podcast. The channel link is in our description below, so do follow that and click subscribe. Jack goes in depth with his Formula One debates, especially George Russell and Perez. At least, of course, if he says anything bad about Perez, he'll get a knock on the door.
No, loads of people love Perez, so it's great a topic to talk about. I'm pretty sure it's you watching it 1,000 times, but everyone seems to love any Sergio Perez content, which is great.
Just one more message from Country Breakfast saying, as a side note, I'll be at the United States Grand Prix in Austin, Texas. Will be very interesting to see the reception of the W Series there. Yeah, absolutely. Of course, the F1 ran by Americans, so obviously it's good to add the W Series to the US Grand Prix there. So
if you want to have a live stream, if you want to join the live stream from Austin, Texas, that'd be great. that'd be a good thing to do.
Absolutely. Just join in on your phone from the stands.
Yeah.
And he also asks, will there be an F1 watch along tomorrow? Yes, there will be. Country Breakfast. So do join me tomorrow afternoon for the Austrian Grand Prix watch along. We look forward to it. So yeah, can Verstappen or Hamilton or someone else win the Austrian Grand Prix this weekend? No, I'm just giving you the usual names. Don't worry. Or can someone else surprise? And we'll find out tomorrow. So do join us for that. Do subscribe to the channel. And our next stream is tonight with our good friend Joe Stanley. He'll be doing a watch along for England versus Ukraine at the Euro 2020 quarterfinals. I'm getting quite nervous for that, so I'll get my England shirt on in a bit. And thanks for watching. See you later, and we'll see you soon.